All right, let's talk about Jake Browning. Jake Browning, who'd have thought we'd be talking about Jake Browning? Who even knew who Jake Browning was before Joe Burrow got injured? Okay, I'm sure plenty of people did, but, definitely not a household name by any means. All of a sudden, though, playing really good football here for the Bengals and kind of has them in a position to potentially make the playoffs. Could this be for real? Well, I want to start off with a play like this, and this is just one example, but there's a lot of these types of examples. So you're going to see Jake Browning on this play take the snap. He just flips the ball to his halfback, and you look right now at how well blocked this is. I don't know if they just had something on the Colts, or if the Colts suck at halfback screens or what, or if the Bengals are just actually amazing at it. I don't know, but the Bengals were able to run halfback screens incredibly in this game. You see how well blocked this is? Watch as they're going to get a ton of yards on this play, and this isn't even their longest halfback screen of the game, and it's not even their second longest halfback screen of the game. This was the shortest one because I needed to be able to put it in the video. The longer they are, it gets copyright claimed. So that's the other two were literally so long, it would get copyright claimed if I showed them. So that definitely bumped up the passing yards and the box score stats and all that. That's the only reason I'm showing that, because if you're someone who only looks at box score stats, then you might think he came away throwing a lot more dimes than he was. Again, it's not a bad thing that he hits his halfback screens, just not a good thing either. It's a neutral thing. Maybe you could argue it's a slight good thing, doing his job, but not exactly the most difficult job to do on those plays. But okay, take those out of the equation. How well did he play? Well, for one thing, I think we kind of sometimes forget that, okay, listen, quarterback matters a lot. Quarterback matters a ton. It is still a team sport. Yes, believe it or not, there are still players on the football field besides just the quarterback. So having a good offense that can run plays like this, which, Jamar Chase going to be running a route trying to get into a gap in coverage. As you see, Browning is going to run a play action. It, somewhat works to get Colts players out of position. I'm not sure if that was the reason they got out of position or they just happened to get out of position. Either way, though, it did work. And Browning's throw was on the, I'm going to say on the money, but it wasn't really on the money. It was a bit behind Jamar Chase. But you know what? That's kind of what you want out of your backup quarterback a little bit, right? Is like, hey, just put the ball in position where your great receiver can make the catch. Maybe it'll be a little bit tougher than if Joe Burrow is out there. Sure, I get that. At the same time, though, at least you got the ball down the field, though. And if you're trying to make the playoffs with a backup quarterback, you might need your receivers to make these plays. And right now, they're making these plays. Now, does it always work out that way? No, it does not. There are examples of things like this where it's going to be a zone coverage play, just trying to hit a tight end underneath the coverage. Watch as you're going to see Browning take the snap. He, throws, and there is a window here on 2nd down and 4. You're hoping for this to be a first down. That's what you're hoping to see happen here if you're Browning. However, the throw is, again, it's just a bit off, but this time, that's not Jamar Chase there, and it ends up getting batted up. It is intercepted, which is obviously not ideal. So definitely would have liked to see that, be on the money. So just because it sometimes isn't a big deal doesn't mean it always works out in your favor. So, that is something you see, right? He's not Joe Burrow, okay? He's not. But he still is making some good plays. And again, sometimes he doesn't have to make good plays. Sometimes the team can do it for them to some degree, and he can just play his part. Like this one, it's going to be T. Higgins. T. Higgins, remember him? I mean, we're all talking about T. Higgins not really playing great to start the season. Well, he's going to have a great play here. It's going to essentially be a one-on-one matchup down the field, running a double move here. And as you see, Browning takes the snap. He's going to look down the field towards Higgins. He fires down the field. And look at how open Higgins got. He even kind of looked towards his right shoulder for a second, but then realized it's going the other way. As you see, Higgins adjust nicely. And it was a good throw by Browning as well. Again, you could argue, is it a perfect throw? I don't know. But it's a good throw, and they get the ball down the field and are able to make that big play happen. And again, this Bengals offense is good enough that it can work. And going over here, I didn't really intend for this video to be a lot of, hey, this is good, but then that wasn't so good. Or a lot of like, hey, wide open receiver, and he, almost put it perfectly, but they still made the play. Like, there were some legitimately good plays. This one is zone coverage. They're going to try to hit Tanner Hudson, the tight end, just kind of past the first down marker. Okay, well, let's see how that goes. Watch as you're going to see Browning, he is going to put this one really perfectly timed to where this is right when it's getting open on this play. So you're just getting, the window right here. And as you see, puts it on the money. They're able to get a first down. Well-timed stuff. Again, a big part of I think a backup quarterback's job is to just have the timing down, which is so difficult to do when you don't have the first team reps. And that might be why it struggled a little bit early on, was just getting the timing down. And now that he's kind of got that down, he can at least run the offense, and it's a pretty good offense. So as long as he can come in and be a serviceable backup, like this Bengals team with serviceable backup caliber play is a pretty good team. Can they make the playoffs? Well, it's possible. These are their 4 games left this season. I think I'm going to pick the Bengals to win against Minnesota. I know the Vikings are also fighting for a playoff spot, so that is a really important game. They play Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh feels like they could lose to anybody at this point, so it's very possible we could see Cincinnati winning their next 2, but then the following 2 are going to be tough. And listen, I know I know Kansas City hasn't looked fantastic as of late. They're still not a team I think, betting on to lose against the Bengals here. I still think I would pick Kansas City in that situation. But then, Cleveland, the final game of the season, it's not out of the question that could be a winner gets into the playoffs type of game. It's not. Do I think that the Bengals get into the playoffs? I think that if they win those 3 games, that would put them at 10-6. And assuming the Browns don't win their other 3, you could overtake Cleveland in that scenario. And then it's very much in the cards. Again, you still have the Colts and the Texans to deal about, and the Broncos to worry about, and don't forget about Buffalo. So plenty of teams still in the mix, but I do think Cincinnati is one of those teams now, and it's entirely because Jake Browning has come in and played well for them as a backup quarterback, which backup quarterbacks, they matter, and we're seeing that here. A bit of a surprising stat that I'll throw here at the end is the Pro Football Focus grade of Browning and Burrow on the season. You see, Burrow did not grade particularly well. He's someone who usually does very well in the PFF grade statistic. This season, only 16th out of the 38 eligible quarterbacks, which is still good, just not Joe Burrow good. And you see that Browning is only a little bit behind him in terms of, his current grades. And the 3 grades, you see it's overall offense is the first one, passing is the second, and then running is the third. So Browning been a little bit better in the running category, but a little bit worse in the passing category. But again, it's a small sample size. PFF themselves says you shouldn't look at grades in a small sample size, but it's just something notable. But yeah, that's what I think about all this. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.